Hi, Armand coming to you this time from the Great Lakes Astrology Conference in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with your weekly forecast for the week of July 1st, 2019. We begin the second half of the year, the calendar year anyway, with a pretty exciting week. We have solar eclipse. That's a big event. We also have Mercury stationing and going retrograde. So there's a couple of big things that are happening this week, and then there's some kind of sparkly sorts of aspects. Basically speaking, what happens is that Monday we are coming into the new moon. It is a time of, we sort of feel the impending energies. In actual point of fact, excuse my throat clearing, in actual point of fact, probably not a lot happens because it is a new moon. The solar eclipse itself is on Tuesday. It is a pretty intense kind of eclipse, in no small part because it's in the sign of Cancer, and so the moon goes on to oppose Saturn and then finally goes on to oppose Pluto. So this is sort of thing that it's the implosive energy of a solar eclipse followed by this more explosive outgoing energy that comes when you have an opposition. At the same time, for those of you that are in partnerships that need a little bit of attention, it's interesting that Uranus is square to the asteroid Juno as Chiron is trine to the same asteroid. And Juno has a lot to do with partnership and the basic kind of relationship, established relationship. So this solar eclipse may resonate and may sort of reverberate more with established relationships, in case that's where you happen to be with things. In general, though, I would say that we get out of this solar eclipse energy on Tuesday through Wednesday with there's a lot of energy that's just sort of popping out quickly, as opposed to the slower sorts of energy that we might associate with a solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer. It is kind of a reset time for things having to do with home and family, for sure, because it's a Cancerian thing, but also clan. That's an important point. It's the clan, the point of where we feel an identity with where we come from. And that's not just family, it's not just clan. In the United States, for example, this is obviously, since the eclipse is on July 2nd, it is very close to the July 4th birthday of the country. And so there may be some sort of nationalist kind of thing that is coming up, national sorts of concerns that are coming up through this time. As terms of handling it in your daily life, I would say that the early part of the week is a time to pay a lot of attention to what's going on, deal with things as they come up. It is a new moon, so things may come towards you, but you don't really have a great deal of control. And that's kind of the way you need to look at this, as being, okay, let's see what's happening, but we'll sort of wait to see what to do about it. The one area where that may not be possible is in the area of personal relationships. We may have to really deal with things. Well, I shouldn't say that. You may have to deal with things in any area of life, right? But take a sort of measured approach to things, count 10. There is a lot of powerful energy, but it's not necessarily showing you exactly. It's showing you what you need to see, but it's not necessarily showing it to you in the proportion that you should see it. As we get along to the 3rd and the 4th, we have a little bit of a shift of energy there. Venus goes into the sign of Cancer, which again, that sort of pulls us more towards that sort of homebody kind of energy and relationship, after the more flirty, fun feel of Venus in Gemini. Then the moon goes into Leo for the 4th and the 5th, so that's Thursday and Friday. If you have off in the U.S., it's going to be a big holiday, so if you have off, it's a good picnicky kind of thing. The moon is just starting to wax, but it's in Leo, so it's a pretty good energy for things. It ought to be a pleasant time. There's basically good aspects. We do have the moon in Leo is going to square Uranus, and that's a little bit of a firecracker kind of aspect. But basically speaking, coming out of the new moon there, Thursday, Friday, pretty good energy. If you're in a situation where you're doing more work type of stuff, if you're in Europe or South America or something like that, and the 4th of July holiday doesn't mean much to you, then Canada and Mexico too. Lots of places, Australia. Basically, it's that same old, coming out of the new moon, starting to put things in place, not really going too fast just yet, but a pretty good energy for getting things moving on Thursday and Friday. And Friday night ought to be a good fun night to get out. Then the moon goes into Virgo for the rest of the weekend. That's a little bit less of a raucous energy. It should be pleasant. It should be good. You can do a lot of stuff. Cook a nice meal, but it's a more laid back kind of feel. It's not the intensity that we're going to have on Thursday and Friday night. So my guess is a good night to be out this week would be Friday night, Thursday night, Friday night. And then Saturday and Sunday may have a little bit more of a mellower kind of vibe to them. The moon is starting to wax, so it's kind of working in your favor if you've got something going on. But it's in the sign of Virgo, so it's probably a little bit more reserved kind of energy. Basically speaking, we start the week in a little bit of a holding pattern. We come out of it pretty quickly, deal with stuff. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is kind of a lot of fun. Hopefully, it's a lot of fun, and there'll be some stuff happening at that time that we can pay attention to, and we can start to work with things. And then Saturday and Sunday is probably a day for doing chores and taking care of some stuff that you've got to get done and things like that. For those that are working, it's probably a pretty good time to work. All right, that's about what we have going for this week. Oh, no. Let me correct that. Saturday and Sunday, not only is the moon in Virgo, but Mercury is stationing to retrograde on Sunday. So you got to be really careful with all of those mercurial things. Already we're seeing a ton of stuff happening that looks like this is going to be a real bear of a Mercury retrograde, especially with Mercury going through the sign of Cancer, where it's like electricity and water don't mix, getting into Leo where things are kind of fiery and then backing back into Cancer. So this is certainly going to be a tricky retrograde. Really make sure your ducks are in a row. Maybe the Virgo energy on the weekend will help you with that. We'll see. I will be back with you next week. And don't forget to take a look at the monthly forecast as well. Bye-bye.